So pretty much, let's talk about Inferno a little bit. So can we just get a few words from you about why you created it, where the location was, and everything like that?
Um, the Inferno was shot in Amsterdam, by Joop Waynes from Amsterdam, from the Netherlands. Shout out to him. Um, I came up with the movie idea. I'm not even gonna say a year or a point in time. I had this movie idea for a while. It was basic. I just wanted to make a movie about a girl that was sexually aroused by fire. That was the basis, like that was the mission statement. And somehow I got in contact with him, and I saw that he was releasing a film, which ended up being Cowboy. And I contacted him like, man, like I thought Cowboy, the shots and it were really dope, this and that. And he's like, yo man, like he does graphic art. He's like, yo man, if you ever need any like artwork for your songs and shit like that, like let's like hit me up, like I'll do your album art and shit. I was like, man, fuck that shit, let's do a film. He was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, you want to do a whole film? I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's do this shit. And so we worked everything out, and then I ended up producing. I wrote it. Well, we wrote it together. Well, I wrote it, and then we bounced ideas off for particular scenes, of course, because he directed it, and put it all together, and we got Anna and Emma to star in it, and yeah, it was shot. I think they shot it. Took like 3-4 days. Shoot, it was a short film, so a couple locations, couple days, and it went very smooth. We didn't actually get the film out until like a year after finishing it. We had like 12 different cuts of it. First cut was like 15 minutes long, and it got down to 7 in the final. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a big learning experience for me.
How so?
Um, just learning how to translate a story to screen, how to tell your story through the screen. It's way harder than it seems. It's one of those things where you watch a movie, you're like, oh, I could do that. You get a camera, you could do this, do that, and the writing aspect. I thought was probably the hardest part, because the writing is the most important part of any film. You can have terrible actors in a film. If your writing is good, you get a pass, because it's interesting regardless. And I learned a lot about that. I learned a lot about the technicalities of just the equipment that we had to use. What was the thresholds of different quality levels. I didn't want to do DSLR quality shit. I wanted to do film quality. I didn't want to compromise that. It cost me more for it, but I mean, Inferno is beautiful, so it came out great. Dealing with people, dealing with cast, interesting things about that I've learned. I don't want to get into it because it's a little. I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I learned things about dealing with cast.
Okay. And did you make Prince of Wolves to go along with Inferno?
No.
No.
Initially, Inferno. When I first started Inferno, I was working on an album called Dagger Wolf, which eventually turned into Prince of Wolves. And Dagger Wolf sounded completely differently. Actually, Inferno was originally called Burning in the Woods, and it was based off of a song that I had on Dagger Wolf that never came out. And I never I changed the whole sound for Prince of Wolves completely. Like, I started from scratch. I think the only songs that made it from Dagger Wolf was Young Men No Sleep in the Watchtower. And everything else was completely new. And I worked on that with the full body of that. I worked on that with Taylor. So I mean, after everything changed, we had to go back and change the soundtrack. That's why the film changed so much, because I made new music, for the album. The album kept changing, and I wanted it to correlate. The original plan was that they were going to drop together, and then as it got deeper, I was like, no, I just want this film to be its own entity. I don't want it to be a film, an album film. You know, I didn't want it to be like that kind of cliche. I just was like, no, let's make a film and just not bound ourselves to music, because I make music way too fast. Like,
Right.
you know, it's way too ridiculous. So